So this is a video that honestly I've talked to Allah also about, obviously like everything else, subhanAllah, about, in my opinion, the reason religious OCD exists, or at least is quite dominant or very common, in my opinion. And yes, it does kind of relate to the last video, because obviously I'm not surprised at most of the comments. Like I said, I know it's going to be extremely controversial. This is not even probably a minority take, honestly. Or at least in my opinion, I don't think it's even a minority take. At least in my eyes, I've never really seen much about this talk with no filter with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In my opinion, like I said. But like I said, that is how I talk to him. SubhanAllah. That is how he trained me, or at least how I believe he trained me. SubhanAllah. And it's the only way I can be genuine with him and making everything I say to him, everything, I'm not just talking about du'as, come out of my heart. It also makes me love him and not fear him to the point where I don't want to even see him. Or if I'm questioned, hey, do you want to meet Allah? And I go, no. I may not be ready. To me, to be honest, I refuse to believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not want to see someone that wants to see him. SubhanAllah. But anyway, so about this video. With religious OCD, I'll be honest, I believe the reason it exists or dominates or is common is because I'm noticing, in my opinion, in my eyes at least, I am noticing from what I see, a lot of people, when they talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they speak about him almost like he's this king, you know, because we cannot picture how Allah is like, because we can't see him or any of this. So we're almost picturing him like how we picture a human king. A fragile ego. You have to address him in a certain way, because if you don't, you'll be punished, you'll be killed, you'll be lynched, you'll be put in jail, whatever, you know. Speaking about a human king, I don't think I need to give specifics, right? SubhanAllah. Or he's like this divine king with a divine hammer, just watching your very steps. The moment you make a mistake, strikes you with the hammer. I'll be honest, I believe these are distortions of Allah's true beautiful image. They just make no sense to me. Not even close to making sense. Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call himself the Wadud? Why would he call himself the Latif? Why would he call himself the Ghani? I think which means the self-sufficient, meaning he doesn't need us, we need him. The way I think about it is the very, very foundations of Islam are intentions matter more than actions. Mentioned in Hadith, mentioned in Quran with examples about the heart and the intentions of the person. I believe it's the true foundation of Islam, subhanAllah. And for the record, obviously there are a lot of foundations of Islam. When I say true foundation, I mean like almost a lost foundation. Like something maybe we're not all aware of. At least to me. So in my opinion, for example, to give you an idea, let's say the Quranic verse, Surah Al-Nahl, Ayah 106. Or hold on, wait, sorry. Yeah, Ayah 106. Whoever disbelieves in Allah after their belief. Now notice, not those who are forced while their hearts are firm in faith, but those who embrace disbelief wholeheartedly, they'll be condemned by Allah and suffer a tremendous punishment. Now, do you see something very strong here, in my opinion, Why would Allah include such an exception, saying, not those who were forced while their hearts, again about the heart, firm in faith. Once again, Allah making it about, it's the intentions. It's the intentions that matter, not the actions. So, why would Allah put that exception? Why would He say the whole, I know what you reveal, what you conceal, and His name is the all-knowing? Why would He call Himself Al-Wadud, the loving, the merciful, etc.? Let's be real, guys. His tests are not what makes Him Wadud, loving, merciful. We know His tests are difficult. He knows His tests are difficult. Let's not pretend and perform. We know that's the truth. He knows it. There's no shame in admitting that. They are difficult. SubhanAllah. You even see it in the hadith, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he was asked, who are the most tested, severely tested? And he said what? The prophets. Immediately. So there is no shame in admitting the tests of those that keep coming closer to Allah get more difficult. That's the truth. SubhanAllah. But the rewards obviously get so much bigger as well, because, not because He's the compensator, that's not His names, but He's the provider. Razzaq. He loves to provide. So His rewards can never be just equal to His tests. They'll have to supersede them. Otherwise, He would be called the compensator, which He is not. SubhanAllah. Every holy name of Allah has an example, real life example in front of us. Everywhere you should be able to see, why does Allah call Himself Al-Wadud, the loving, the protector, the merciful, etc.? His tests? Clearly not those. That's His mercy. So why is He all of those things? Now, in my opinion, it's because no one is closer to you than He is. No one is more of a friend to you than He is. He's closer to you than your own jugular vein. SubhanAllah. He literally says in a hadith Qudsi, whoever shows enmity to a wali of mine, I will declare war against them. Does that sound like a friend or a creator speaking from a barrier behind him or in front of him? That is a friend. He calls Ibrahim alayhi salam, I think, his Khalil. Khalil is more than just a friend, guys. SubhanAllah. So why are we keep using this phrase of He is not our friend, He's just the creator? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, obviously, the reason I'm making this video is because I'm essentially saying that's the reason religious OCD exists, guys. That is the reason. Because we're not trained to love Allah as how He wants us, in my opinion, to love Him. We're not being honest with Allah as we should. In other words, and this is going to sound harsh, and it probably is harsh, and this video is honestly probably all harsh, we're being fake with Him. SubhanAllah. When He already knows it, and even gave us a Quranic verse literally to remind us, I know what you conceal, I know what is in your hearts. So what's the point of pretending exactly? SubhanAllah. And once again, to obviously address the elephant in the room, I guess, the comments that were talking about those certain hadiths being pulled, saying that it was showing in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saying, for example, when he was grieving over his son and saying, indeed the heart sheds tears, but we do not say except what is pleasing to Allah, I think, right? All of those hadith center around that foundation, in my opinion. Intentions. SubhanAllah. It's the intentions. Allah is literally saying in a Quranic verse, the worst sin possible to all of mankind history. Disbelieving, shirk, or atheism, whatever, and dying on it, obviously. And saying, whoever disbelieves after their belief, not those, literally exactly like that, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ, Not those who are forced while their hearts are firm in faith, but those who embrace it wholeheartedly, they'll be condemned. SubhanAllah. So Allah is talking about the worst of the worst. We're talking about disrespect to Allah when we didn't even mean it. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, is talking about the worst sin possible that you can do. And if you didn't mean it, you will not be condemned. While we're focusing on a hadith that is about not saying things that are disrespectful to him. Do you see what I'm talking about? I should, by the way, give the context of that Quranic verse, like we gave for the mocking one, right? The context is even more shocking to show you, subhanAllah, about the intentions thing. I think it was a companion named Ammar ibn Yasir. His parents were tortured to death in front of him. And when the torturers, attackers, whatever, came to him, he uttered words of disbelief, kufr. He uttered the thoughts of disbelief, you know. He uttered the words, he even said the thoughts, said the words. And he immediately came crying to the Prophet, essentially like, he's a disbeliever now. He basically uttered the words, I'm weak. I basically uttered the words. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't just keep it to myself. I couldn't, when the attackers were torturing me, it was either I get killed or I uttered the words of disbelief. And that's when Allah came to vindicate him with the Quranic verse. SubhanAllah, saying, not those who are forced while their hearts are firm in faith. Do you see how beautiful that is? Once again, that is the true Allah, guys. That is him. Not this distortion and weird image we have of him. SubhanAllah. That's the true Allah right there. SubhanAllah. So when the Prophet was uttering those words, saying, we only say what is pleasing to Allah, the only explanation in my heart, it has to be because he was saying, let's be real, the moment you lose a loved one, the worst of the worst, maybe someone has cancer, what you're seeing happening in Palestine, what you're seeing happen to countries, etc., war, genocide, what are your thoughts? Be real. Your thoughts are going to be terrible, negative thoughts, but you're trying to override them with positive thoughts. No, Allah wouldn't do this. There's no way Allah wouldn't let things like this happen. But your negative thoughts are trying to take over. This is what Allah wants. Allah is evil. Allah blah 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 blah. Be real. Those are the thoughts. But are the intentions intact? Do you actually mean those words when you lost your loved one and you screamed at Allah, whatever? Did you mean them? No, you didn't. SubhanAllah. Because even someone that uttered the words of disbelief, the worst of the worst, wasn't even condemned, not even a little. In fact, wasn't only vindicated by Prophet Muhammad SubhanAllah, Allah himself, our friend, vindicated him in the Quran. Do you know what kind of an honor that is? SubhanAllah. To be vindicated in the Quran. SubhanAllah. The only explanation is those hadiths revolve around the foundation. Intentions matter more than actions. SubhanAllah. It's honestly one of the most important foundations in my opinion. Again, reason I'm saying like true foundation, strongest foundation, etc. Not because, it's Tawheed, obviously. It's submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing He is one and only and His Prophet is His messenger, subhanAllah. Not those. I'm talking, it's because it's almost so hidden. That's why I'm referring to it as a very strong foundation. Because a lot of us don't see it, or haven't heard of it, or thought it just was there, Like that hadith is there, the Quranic verses showing very much every time, talking about intentions. They had their examples and they're done. No. There will always be examples. Here's the thing. Here's what I believe, honestly. So if things really show that intentions matter more than actions, Well, what about the explicit haram verses? No, those are different. Explicit haram verses, like for example, drinking. Drinking is haram. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. Drinking, haram, because it's explicit. So in my opinion, the only way the verse about intentions to apply, it has to be the gray areas. Any gray areas that are not explicit, like music, drawing, making jokes about religion, which by the way, sorry, ADHD brain going on, just really quickly. I was looking at some Instagram story of some guy making a joke. It was funny. To be honest, I can't quite understand it. But it was basically a joke about AI of a shark saying a Quranic verse before attacking a guy suddenly. And the joke was he got attacked suddenly after saying a Quranic verse about like Bismillah Rahman Rahim, you know. Obviously, I don't think I need to say what the comments were. Enraged, how dare you? Islam is not to be made jokes of. Islam is Islam. Look at the Quranic verse. Look at this. Never make jokes about Islam. Subhanallah. And immediately, I look at the Quranic verse because I honestly wanted to confirm, subhanallah, the context of that Quranic verse when Allah was saying, and was it you were making fun of the verses, the Prophet and my verses? Or hold on, I'll find the verse, sorry, hold on. So, Surah At-Tawbah, Ayah 65. If you question them, they'll certainly say, we were only talking idly and joking around. Say, was it Allah, His revelations and His messenger that you ridiculed or mocked? Now, obviously, that sounds very bad. Even when I looked at it immediately, oh yeah, definitely. That sounds very bad. However, when we look at the context of that verse, subhanAllah, you will notice, from what I read at least, that these same people, guess what? The whole theme of this video. They were mocking the religion. They were actually making fun of the religion, not joking around, but actually mocking it, making fun of it, laughing at it, etc. But the moment they were questioned, hence where the verse says, if you question them, Allah is even saying, they will say, we were only talking idly and joking around. That's because they weren't joking. They were lying. But their intentions were they actually were mocking the religion. So that is extremely different than how we used that verse in that comment about the video that was obviously making a harmless joke, not actually mocking. At least in my opinion, they were Muslim. They were just making some harmless AI video, joking around, like making a shark say Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Something you wouldn't expect. It was kind of funny. But no, 90% of the comments were essentially what I'm saying. SubhanAllah. Again, brings us back to the foundation, guys. Intentions. Intentions. Stop assuming you know someone's intentions. We don't. Allah can give us hints, but ultimately we still won't 100% know. SubhanAllah. So don't call them a sinner. Don't jump at their throats. Say they're not going to smell heaven or whatever. Yeah, by the way, you guessed it. Of course, those comments existed as well. Anyway, sorry. ADHD brain turn off. Now back to the actual video. SubhanAllah. For the record, by the way, just to say this, I wasn't officially diagnosed because I've never gone to a therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever, okay? So I can't say or declare that I have ADHD. I just have all of the symptoms related to it. So at least my ADHD similar brain turn off. Okay, now back to what I was saying. I honestly respect people that have religious OCD. Everything is created in a balance, guys. Everything. The way I see religious OCD, it's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi, in my opinion. It's a gift. You just need to know how to use the gift. So you go to the balance. Because it's one of those test gifts that will go to one extreme. Which is extreme fearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, extreme scrupulosity, I think is the word for it. But the balance is love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, know that His punishments are overridden by His mercy, and those are His words, by the way, not mine, subhanallah, etc. And here is a hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself saying something similar to that, subhanallah. This is in Sahih Muslim and in Sunan Abi Dawood. There were a group of companions that came to the Prophet ﷺ in distress, saying, we find in our heart, hold on. We find in our souls thoughts that are so terrifying, so disgusting, so terrible, that we would rather be burnt to a cinder or fall from the sky than to ever speak them out loud. Does that sound familiar to you? Subhanallah. Do you know what the Prophet said? Didn't get angry at them, didn't label them, didn't say anything, just asked a question. Do you really see that in your souls? They replied, yes. They didn't even say, we don't think so. They said yes. Do you know what he said? That's faith. Subhanallah. He actually said that is clear, pure faith. And that's what I say to many of my responsibilities, subhanallah, that have religious OCD. You're so scared of the thoughts. You're so terrified that you could be a disbeliever. You're so terrified you probably didn't perform your wudu correctly. You're so terrified you probably passed flatulence after your wudu, or maybe when you were praying. You're so terrified you're thinking you should do it again. You're so terrified maybe you should perform ghusl. You're so terrified, and you call yourself potentially a disbeliever? Subhanallah, that's pure, beautiful faith. You just need to learn how to use it. It's a gift from Allah. Subhanallah. Many of us are given gifts. Some people are given the gift of music, being able to compose music, make music, sing, play instruments. Learn how to use the gifts with a balance like Allah is testing you with. Don't sing about haram things. Don't sing about terrible things. Sing about good things. Sing about Allah. Sing about whatever. Don't draw haram things. Don't draw nude things. Draw good things. Draw beautiful things. Subhanallah. Learn how to use your gift. Learn how to use your gift of religious OCD. Subhanallah. Love Allah. Speak to Him. Be honest with Him. He wants you to be honest with Him. In my opinion, like I keep saying, wallahi, it's about the intentions. And that's why I honestly, genuinely believe that is why religious OCD continues to exist and will keep existing as long as that mindset of this weird image distortion of Allah being this divine hammer with a fragile ego, just with a divine hammer waiting to strike you down the moment you make a mistake. When there's literally a hadith of him saying, the hadith of, I think, what was it again? Hold on. I don't remember it verbatim, but I think we're all familiar with it. If you think about a sin, but you don't do it, it's not going to be written for you. Now watch how hilarious this is. But if you think about doing something good, but you end up not doing it, guess what? It's going to be written as if you've done that good thing. And if you actually do it, you'll be rewarded even more than that. And only that sin will be recorded if you actually do it. Subhanallah, does that sound like this divine king with a divine hammer just waiting to strike you at any second you make a mistake? Or does that sound like a wadud, protector, rahim, ghani, loving, all the words, calls some of his creations Khalil, Wali, etc., saying, I'll declare war against them, to whoever shows an enmity to a wali of mine. The one that says, I will become your hearing, I will become your listening, I'll become your feet that you walk with, I'll become your hands, I'll become your ears. That hadith where he says, my servant that loves me and does his religious duties, I will become his hearing, I'll become his feet, I'll become his hands, etc. Does that sound like someone that's waiting to strike you, subhanAllah? Subhanallah. Do you know what Prophet Muhammad subhanallah said in his last moments? When the angel of death came to him one last time to ask him, he said, Allahumma rafiqul ala. Essentially like saying, I choose Allah. Didn't say, I hope I'm ready. I hope I'm ready to meet Allah. I hope He's going to be nice to me. I hope He's going to love me. Literally said, I choose Allah. Subhanallah. Raw, unfiltered love with the Creator, with the friend, not simply some creator, not some faraway creator that just watches over us. Our friend, subhanallah. And if he calls you his friend, his Khalil, no one can touch you. And if they do, he will declare war against them. He will punish them severely. Because in his words, whoever shows enmity to a wali of mine, I will declare war against them. Do you see how fiercely protective he is of his friends? Subhanallah. Talk to Allah, guys. And when I say talk to Allah, I don't mean put your head on the prayer mat, lie down, try to shed some tears, go to Google whatever is the best dua at the time to make that will 100% to be answered in any time, any day, anywhere, any hour, any second, and then utter those duas to him. No, I mean talk to him like you're talking to me, like I am talking to you, like you're talking to your best friend on the phone, like you're talking some stranger in the street, like you're initiating a conversation with someone. Talk from the heart. And if those du'as that you Google come from your heart, you understand the true essence of those du'as, you understand the power of those du'as, you understand what they mean, they're in your vernacular, you understand and you use those kind of du'as even in everyday speech, use those du'as. And use them in mix, even if they're not in your everyday speech. But talk from the heart, because He sees your heart, not your mouth uttering the dua. So He immediately knows if you mean it or you don't. Like I said, the foundation of Islam. Subhanallah. We are the easiest religion of all. Wallahi, we are. Told multiple times not to make it difficult. And we're still making it difficult for others. But then again, it's in the signs of Judgment Day. So it's gonna happen inevitably. So try not to contribute to the signs, in my opinion. SubhanAllah. Don't be an extremist. Speak to Allah. Have the balance. Don't be too lax with the religion, and don't be too rigid with the religion. Find the balance. You know where it is if you keep coming closer to Allah, Wallahi, because He shows you, because He will show you His ways. In His words, you come to Him, He will show you the way. So let Him show you the way. But let Him open up your heart and speak to Him. SubhanAllah.